are we are building the plane and flying it on this Wednesday afternoon. Uh, I think I'm still Doctor Evil Genius. Who are you, dude?
I think I'm still Captain Paul with a better hip though. Functionality is perfect and
Better
key
hip
here.
functionality. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
What's going on,
You want to talk
Jeremy?
about that a little bit? How you've been?
It's been good. It's actually been like really, really good to the point that I kind of have to pull myself back at times because like I really feel like I could just start walking because like this is like the first time I have not felt pain in my hip at all, and I kind of overdid it yesterday with some PT, just a little bit, and I woke up a little bit sore, not gonna lie, but yeah, I mean it's like night and day, man. Like you know how much I was going through it, where there'd be certain days I couldn't even like get out of bed, and now it's like it's re-energizing in such an awesome way. Um, but yeah, I mean I really can't complain. The hip's going well. I still have a long road of recovery, about 5 months, almost. Yeah, it's only been a week, so like 5 months and 3 weeks. But I'm really looking forward to kind of getting back to normal, going on some walks and stuff. Um, but
One
yeah,
of the things
and
that you said that I thought was very interesting is that you have less pain after surgery than you know during the surgery.
yeah, no, that's the thing is like with the day after the surgery, right? Like I was feeling like absolute dog water to keep this PC. Oh, by the way, big changes in the YouTube system now. I can now say fuck and fuck does not matter. They changed that policy. So
Wait, what?
yeah, they changed that policy. That's a new big policy. So yep, you can say that and you will not
So
get
so so
demonetized.
so so I could say, hey, suck my. Nah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but like obviously no like racial stuff or phobic language, but it's
Oh,
like
so
yeah,
you
you
can't
can say
say that the only thing you know about hockey is the puck is black. You can't say that.
no. Only Stephen A. Smith can say that, and that video has been going viral. But no, it's been it's such a great process for me because I've been in so much amount of pain that people couldn't understand. Like sitting for a certain period of time hurt, standing for a period of time fucking hurt. And when it kind of came down to it, like when I got out of surgery, I was a little sore, but I was like, I actually feel better. Like it's kind of hard to explain because your hip feels completely in place as Evil loses his microphone and his connection to his camera. But yeah, I've definitely been really happy with the process, and I got a long road ahead of me. I can't go back to work for still about a half a year, but it's just so exciting. And yes, additionalist, I will be able to wake up on time sometimes. Today I kind of slip in a bit, a little tired, but it's in my contract. I'm not. It's not time oriented. My contract, you know. So
You're the one that came up with 11 a.m. on
listen,
Wednesdays.
listen,
You did that.
listen. I am a white man. I can be a hypocrite. You do not need to tell me what I need to say here. But
I was
no,
about to say, well, I'm black. I could be on black people time.
yeah, bro, shit. You know what? I don't know if that would be YouTube friendly. What I was about to say, but but it will. It's been good. So I'm really happy with it. I'm so just it's such a reprieve. The only problem I have, man, is like I want to walk without the crutches, and because I feel like I can, but I just gotta pull myself back. You
Mm,
know what I mean? But
yeah.
yeah, I mean, things have been going well. Things have been going really well. How about yourself? I see you in the gym with JD, getting his weight up. You know, making sure he's properly using the right techniques.
Yeah,
And
it's interesting, man, because uh it kind of grinds my gears a little bit. I'm gonna rant just a little bit.
mhm.
You know, JD has a lot of issues with this is fucked up. Yo,
Yeah,
yo. Oh, oh, wow. Okay, let's get it. Okay.
starting out
Um,
strong.
So, JD, he's working really hard. Okay.
Mm,
And I tell him, say, hey, don't be afraid to post the clips of your progress.
mm,
And he's progressing a lot quicker than I really think most people really should be able to expect, especially for somebody who has not ever touched a barbell until like 2 months ago. And so I had him so every single time, and I know I should not be focusing on the minority of people, but it does grind my gears. I post one clip a week or, thereabouts whenever he moves up
mm,
in either volume or in resistance level.
mm.
There'll always be a few people, commenting on the tweet, talking about what kind of, oh, well, you need to use this form and you need to use that form
Oh my
and you
god.
need to put the bar here
You
and you
need to
need to lift
suck my
lighter and you need to
yeah.
do, and then there'll always be something that lets me know that either they don't lift or they don't lift successfully. And it's
Right.
just like, one guy, I just straight up asked him, so how is he supposed to do what you suggested? And please tell me how your personal training clients have been successful in them following your whatever,
Yeah, your method.
whatever
Yeah.
your suggestions are. Please tell me how your personal training clients have benefited, because you'll see people who know what they're talking about. And then, one guy said, oh, yeah, I've been a trainer for 9 years and I can see that you're doing all these things right. Keep it up. But then you got people that don't lift. Like, do you even lift, bro?
Yeah.
But they want to tell you, hey, they want to tell him how to lift. The dude is squatting over 200 pounds and he's only been doing squats with a bar on his back for less than 2 months.
Yeah. That's impressive. I mean, that's really impressive.
Yeah, I just don't understand. Like, where do you get off telling this guy
Oh, we gotta move
how
that.
to lift when he's actually I had one guy was telling, oh yeah, the bar is on his neck. I'm the one standing behind him watching him.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
he's got some interesting physical characteristics that people don't know what they're looking at when they're looking at it, but they're going to tell me, oh, the bar is on his neck.
well,
Number
the
one,
problem
did you ask him if the bar was on his neck? Did you ask him?
the problem
Oh,
is
he's losing his balance. Like, if you see the latest clip of Jay hitting the squat,
I did.
does it look like he's pitching forward and
No.
losing his balance and falling forward?
No. Well, the problem is, it's like, and like, it's been a while. Like, I used to lift a lot when I played hockey, like full time, right? Like when I played hockey, I was like in the gym 4 to 5 times out of a week. Now, mind you, my diet was always trash, always has been trash, and that's been kind of a problem.
Draki.
Yeah, so didn't really have to worry about it when I was younger. But when I watch him lift, he's doing really well. It's hard to build. It's hard to start up from not lifting at all for either not at all or from a long period of time and building back up again. And kind of learning. I know when we were kind of going through it before I got my injury at work, I was doing completely incorrect movement patterns that you just kind of get over a period of years when you're just out of shape, right? Like when you're just not haven't been lifting, haven't been doing things correctly for such a long period of time, and you haven't had people to correct that.
Mm-hmm.
You get wrong movement patterns. Like my whole body was completely out of whack. You even said that, and like we were
Yeah.
working and we're getting some small improvements here and there, and then unfortunately injury happened. And but
Right.
like the problem with anything on social media is when you share it, and this is why I'm kind of always always a little skeptical about sharing things. Is like people don't understand it's like a journey, and
Yeah.
everybody thinks they're a fucking expert. Like
Yeah.
that person that's like eating like a bag of potato chips, a bag of potato chips to their face, who are probably like 300 pounds overweight, is like,
Mhm.
oh well, you gotta make sure that like this bar sits right there, and that like his back's got to be straighter, and that he's pitching forward. Obviously, he's off balance. Like I saw one comment, really stupid comment on one of the videos saying that, oh, he's barefoot lifting. That's bad for him. And I'm like, what? Yeah, and
What you
I'm like,
talking about?
I'm like, it just makes no sense. And it like I have things I know about, and he goes to a professional like you who's done a lot of certified training, who knows what he's done, has tons of clients. It's like I'm pretty sure Evil knows what the fuck he's talking about, and his movement patterns look. He looks from the first video I've seen to the last one, dude. It is night and day. If you look at it and compare it from then, the very beginning, to where he is now, and then like in a year's time, bro, that dude's, if he keeps up with it,
he's gonna be wrecking shit.
He's gonna be in phenomenal shape. And I know, like, when me and you do things, and we start when I can get cleared to do things and lift and stuff like that,
we'll be right back at it.
We'll be right back at it and working on things, and that's you know, but yeah, I mean, people on the internet love to be experts on fields they have,
and you can always tell who doesn't know what they're talking about.
Oh yeah.
Like,
yeah, you can.
You know, like, and the thing is, you know, I'm a person that struggles with imposter syndrome. And so there's always this feeling, no matter how successful I am as a trainer, no matter how many people I've helped, no matter how many people who are very, very wealthy continue to recommend me to other very, very wealthy people, I'm always questioning myself. But it always reminds me how legitimate I am when other people prove how legitimate they're not. And then, you know, one of the guys is like, you know, talking all of this, and then he kind of, in the end of the tweet, he's like, yeah, I need to get in the gym. I need to get under the bar. Like, you're not even under the bar. What are you talking about? You're critiquing somebody who's under the bar, who's been under the bar more consistently than you over the last 2 months, and probably has less time under the bar lifetime than you do. And he's doing it better than you.
Yeah. I mean, the funny part is,
this one guy that was talking about a fucking weight belt. Oh yeah, but I hurt my back. Well, you're the person in pain. He's not. Look at the fucking dude. Look at the outcome. You're in pain. JD is not. You should be asking me why he's not in pain, and you are, and then I can tell you.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious, man. That shit is. That shit grinds my gears.
But
man.
but the problem is, though, it's like selective outrage in a way, right?
Yeah,
you know, it's out of the titles, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you're selecting shit that you don't know what you're talking about, and now I'm outraged.
So, I mean, everything's been going good, I think, in our own lives. Let's talk about the special.
Yeah, let's talk about the special, man. Because first of all, before we do this, can we give a shout out to one David Chappelle? Because David Chappelle saw that the comedy game was being molested by wokeism to the degree where comics were afraid to do their jobs. Comics are not there to tell the jokes that you want to hear. They're not there to tell the jokes about the people you don't like. They're there to do social commentary on the whole world. And every now and again, if the people that you identify with are newsworthy, you're going to get commented on. And since comedians don't make money on congratulating people, they get paid on roasting people, including themselves. If you're in the news, you're going to get roasted. Okay?
Yeah, 100%.
And so Dave, Dave was like, really clear in that he saw where things were going in comedy. And then he started like, he took the first bullets, and now you're starting to see other comics now stepping up and then saying what they really think. And now you're starting to see it in the titles, like when I saw the title Selective Outrage, I knew he was going to be smashing the woke system. I knew it.
Yeah.
And I'm a person that is pretty woke, but I hate wokeism. I just
Jesus Christ.
I just hate wokeism as an ideology, as a movement.
Yeah.
Because what it does is it cheapens a lot of the movement that should be made. Like, because there are there's real discrimination going on. This real racial discrimination There is real sexism against women and against men.
Mm-hmm.
But when I got to hear about, well, if you won't date a manual transmission and you only will date, then you're a phobe. You're only going to date automatic transmissions that shift gears naturally. Then you're a phobe. When you start bringing that into it, you water down everything that the fight for real rights. You don't have the right to demand that somebody date you or somebody like you. But you know what you have the right to? People not beating you to a bloody pulp because you're a male, a biological male in a dress. You have the right and the liberty to live your life the way you want to live it, but you don't have the right to demand people date you.
I mean, and I think I think when it kind of comes down to it, when it comes to comedy, and Dave Chappelle, whether you love the new specials or not, compared to a lot of his contemporaries, right? Maybe Bill Burr, I'd put it in that space because he never really kind of gave a shit either.
But he really toned down his shit for a while. Until Dave started coming out, taking bullets for the whole.
Let's be honest. One of his worst specials was Paper Tiger because he was a little too safe. But that's a whole different.
But that's exactly it.
But like guys like Dave Chappelle, Dave Chappelle, legitimately kind of came in there and like, hey, we're comedians. Like this is like we have to kind of offend people because in my opinion, right, the best way to convey a message and get over how serious a topic is to say it in a comedic form to kind of like relate to the regular everyday person. Right? Because like when you say some wild shit that seems insane, but then there's actually a sliver of truth in that, that is how you kind of inform a general populace, right? And I like how in Dave Chappelle's specials, he just didn't kind of kowtow to the mob.
Right.
And with Selective Outrage with Chris Rock, I mean, it was a really good special. I enjoyed what was said. I thought there was some really funny comedic moments. Obviously, the ending we will talk about quite a bit. But, I mean, one joke that stuck out to me is the abortion one for obvious reasons. And it was just funny. Yeah. And he's like, I believe in pro-choice, but let's not get it twisted. We're still killing babies. And I'm like, oh my God. And
he's like, before you get on me, nobody's killed more babies than me.
And I just thought that shit was great the way he delivered it, saying he's pro-choice, and then just acknowledging the elephant.
Yeah, you got to acknowledge the actual reality of it. And you know what, Cap? I like that you brought that up. I think that I really enjoyed the fact that he wanted to say, hey, I'm not saying you shouldn't have a choice, but let's call it what it is. Yeah. Because what it will do is if people are truly paying attention, I think that people will look at this and say, you know what? Before, I let some dude nut in me raw, maybe I should think about the actual consequences of my actions. Yes, I know that I have the right to go to a prenatal termination clinic and, let them do whatever it is they do chemically or mechanically to remove this unborn human from my insides, right?
Right.
But to understand that there are real consequences. Absolutely. And I think that, if you look at just Pearly Things has said that women use prenatal termination as birth control.
Yep.
And they do it way too often, and it messes up their insides, and it messes up their mind and their emotions, because for all the celebration of having the right, they take a lot of physical and psychological and emotional damage every time they do it. So I think that his words were very, very powerful to me. Like, okay, if you want to do this, I support it. But let's not pretend for a second that, we're just, shredding a document or putting white out over, some typographical error, right? Like there is a life that has been snuffed out.
Absolutely. And that's I just think the way he crafted that joke, talking about his girl, how proud she is, and how he wants to make sure he's serious, like she has a safe future, and then just cuts right into that. I was like, oh Jesus Christ. I think he absolutely painted that picture perfectly, and just That's what comedians are supposed to do, though. Now, what it's weird to me, right? Because the left used to embrace comedy, right? Like that was the big thing, right? Like I would have to
Really?
say, yeah, I would say like when Dave Chappelle was hot with the skit days, I felt like there were more, maybe not completely embrace it, like, but they embraced comedy more than they do now,
You didn't
right?
hear from liberals as much back then.
Right, but I think it's more because such radical left wing fringes now are just so vocal, and if like there's a
They
joke
need to
that's
be
even
vocal to stay relevant.
just a sliver that might be a little bit offensive towards them, they're like, got to cancel this, got to cancel this.
Oh,
I
like
mean,
Chef from South Park.
exactly. Um, and I think when it kind of comes down to it, it's just nice to have comedy be comedy. Because I'll be honest with you, I kind of haven't really watched too many comedy specials for a while. Like I'll watch like the big ones, but I mean even some of the newer comics I've seen besides Andrew Schultz, they just play it too safe, and
Hmm.
it doesn't make it's like it's not funny, right?
Yeah,
Like
let's
because I
give some
feel
love to Andrew Schultz
Andrew Schultz,
because
yeah.
remember during the pandemic lockdowns,
Mm.
he named his podcast Flagrant and Flagrant 2 for a reason,
Mm.
right? Or Flagrant 2. He named it that for a reason. And he said we need to bring the flagrancy back to comedy. And so he would be just up there making sure that his jokes offended somebody.
Absolutely, I
And so
loved it.
shout out to Andrew Schultz. And, I know that there's a lot of crossover with him and Joe Rogan and Dave Chappelle. But Dave Chappelle really took it on the chin because even Schultz wasn't talking too much on stage. On his
No,
podcast, maybe. He wasn't
no,
talking too much on stage about, manual transmissions. You know,
no.
you know, uh, but Dave went on there and really took one for the team. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to say stuff about the most protected group right now so that we can set the bar really high so that everybody can now walk underneath that bar now. Like you can say whatever it is that you need to
Yeah.
say, whatever your observations are.
Well,
Because one of the things that
yeah.
nobody's talking about is what was one of the first groups of people that Chris Rock joked about
Oh,
in
yeah.
Selective Outrage?
Yeah, it
Which
was
group?
definitely the alphabet soup.
No, the white people.
Oh, the white people. Oh, that's right.
That's,
That was first. That was first.
yeah.
That was first.
And
I'm
people and people really tried like just overlooked all of that.
I mean, I think he really yeah, I remember now I'm recalling that joke. It was
Yeah.
hilarious where he was like, "Y'all got motherfuckers running the government trying to overthrow it." It's like it was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
oh, I was cracking up. I'm like,
Yeah,
"Oh
and it's
my god."
like
Yeah, that
who,
shit
who
that
are
was
you overthrowing? Yourselves? Like you're overthrowing yourself. Like
I was cracking up with that one.
like
That was
who
funny.
are you losing who are you losing this power to? You
And
know?
it like he's like everyone's a victim. Nah, he's like
Yeah.
nah, not everyone's a victim. It was just, and I think it kind of played into a
I mean,
massive
the joke
part
is,
of a
is
theme.
false. Like, I just want to come out and say I disagree with the joke, but the joke was funny.
I
Because
mean,
he's talking from the black person's perspective, the
right,
black man's perspective, right?
right,
So he's just like, we don't have any money, we don't have any power. You're thinking that you're losing power? Where are you losing it? Now, as a person that's a little bit more, I I understand the dynamics of why white men in particular feel
yeah,
like they are being attacked because they are being attacked because they're the last socially acceptable group of people to attack
right,
is the straight white male. And I've watched it over the last 15 to 20 years. So I know I know it's a real thing, right?
yeah.
But from the joke, did you get offended by the joke, Paul?
No, because it's comedy. It's funny. It's like, and that's what comedy's got to be. And I loved his theme of nobody's a victim, and throughout the whole special, and the way it's been one of it's
He
what probably
attacks
been
social media culture, and I
uh,
love that.
absolutely love that. And he just really carried himself well throughout this special. The only thing, I really can't think of much negative, but I mean, yeah, I mean, I think overall that's like at 8 out of 10 for me when it comes to specials. That was a really good one. What did you think of? Because we'll just kind of talk about it. What did you think about that segment in it where he talked about how his mother, not his grandmother, his mother, went from having to go to a vet to get her teeth pulled,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
now her granddaughter's in Paris,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Going to culinary school, learning to be a chef. Like, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that was kind of like just a dope story. It was like he obviously had some uh, comedic elements throughout that whole story, but you know how the daughter was being kind of a spoiled brat, and she
That's
got
what I
kicked out
want
of
to talk
school.
about.
Kicked out of school, and he gave her a real humbling.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was absolutely like a phenomenal story of like how we're not too far removed from that era, like where people were treated less than, but
Right.
now you got a next generation like just doing
I
extremely
mean,
well.
we're so far not removed that we're still living in that era, and people want to pretend that we're not.
Mm.
And that's going to be a cold truth and a hot take
Mm.
today. Uh, everybody wants to say, and I've seen a lot of black men that I respect that are saying, we're not victims anymore. We're not victims anymore. And it's just like, like they want to act like what happened to George Floyd, happened 50 or 60 years ago.
Right.
That happened less than 50 months ago.
Mm.
So, I just, I think that he made a really poignant point. I'll take the first part because I really want to dive into the ladies.
Right.
Because I have a wider reaching point
Okay.
with the two young ladies that he's raising, and
Mm.
why I think that he's raising them right. Um, he said, people think like so. What Chris said was where his mother is from. Black people were not allowed to be treated by a white dentist.
Yep.
You can only be treated by a black dentist. And if in your area there are no black dentists, you are allowed to get your dental procedures completed by a veterinarian. Yes, the animal doctor. Because black people are animals, according to the law. And he said, it's not my grandmother. It wasn't Harriet Tubman. It's my mother. Look, she's sitting right over there.
Yeah.
And what it really did was it really drove home the point that we have not been living in a post-racial society. We're getting better. But a lot of this, we've never, there's no racism and all that stuff. Chris Rock's mother was not allowed to see a dentist in her area. She had to have her teeth pulled out by the same people that probably dig in rabbits' rectums to clear blockages.
Right.
And, it's not as far away as people want to believe that it is. The reality is much, much more cruel than the perception that people want to go with. And I thought that was a super, super powerful thing. And it did make me pretty emotional because, there were times where I thought that we were living in a post-racial society, and I had those rose-colored glasses on, and then I had them taken off of me by the things that I've witnessed. So I thought that was a really powerful moment. I think a lot of people skipped over it. And we'll talk a little bit about why I believe that a certain segment of the population skipped over that. But to get to the more important thing, there was a post on social media about everybody's favorite simp, the football player, Russell Wilson.
Yep.
Everybody's favorite simp. And he had a video or a post about him taking his daughter on her first date. And her first date is him. Some people might find that a little bit strange. But basically what he did was taking her out on a really nice evening, picked her up in a Rolls Royce Cullinan, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what he's doing is he's setting her up for the expectation of princess treatment for the rest of her life. The way that he treats the single mother that he is playing cleanup man for.
Oh shit!
Now, Chris Rock, if you compare and contrast, Chris Rock said, "You know what? I'm going to give my daughters everything, but I'm not going to be raising female assholes. I'm not going to do it. So when you want to go out and play mean girl, I got something for you." Now, I know that the school is not going to be willing to kick you out of this this establishment. The school is not going to be willing to do that. But I am going to push them to do that, to teach you a lesson in humility. And I loved how he didn't come from a place of malice. He kind of progressed the story to let you know when she was kicked out of that high school, she then had to write essays for why other high schools should allow her to be admitted. And then when she went to college, she was constantly being reminded of what should happen to people who treat other people poorly. See, he didn't want to raise the stereotypical black women. He didn't want to raise those types. He wanted them to have some humility. No, you're not strong and independent and don't need no man. No, you're not going to be delivering macroaggressions in response to microaggressions. No, I'm not raising assholes. Will I send you to a culinary school in Paris? Absolutely. And this is how I'm going to bridge the gap. Yes, I know what happened to my mother was horrible. But now look at what my hard work has afforded to me. It has given me the opportunity to have my mother, who was not allowed to see an actual dentist. Now, twice a year, she can fly to Paris and go hang out with my daughters who are in prestige. My daughter who is in this prestigious university. And he kind of bridged those two things. Yes, black people are victims. Yes, black people are also powerful. And we're talking about black women, powerful black women who, on one hand, endured a lot of racial injustice. And on the other hand, raising the next generation to not only be competent, but also kind to other people. See, nobody that was outraged about selective outrage was paying attention to that message.
It was a beautiful message.
If you were paying attention, if your outrage and your praise isn't selective.
I mean, I think overall the way in which he handled that, making her, essentially getting her kicked out of the high school, it's a humbling experience, like you said, and that was probably the best thing that ever happened.
She says she's not an asshole anymore. She's actually a cool person to be around now.
But that's proper parenting.
What happens when you hold a young black woman accountable? She learns to hold herself accountable.
I mean, shoot. I mean, just goes in parenting overall. I mean, if John Morant's parents were a little bit more, less into the.
I mean, did you hear what not Skip Bayless, the other guy, Shannon Sharp said?
Yeah, I mean,
he's like, yo, that boy is your son.
He's not
your friend, not your buddy.
He's 100% correct, and I think the world needs more Chris Rocks than T. Morant's, because that's he's failing his son. But getting back, we can have a discussion about that.
Yeah, we can talk about that tomorrow.
But when it kind of comes down to it, like the way in which that story was crafted, really kind of goes and kind of hits the point home that you got to be teaching your kids humility, and you can't be pampering them, because if you do, they do get raised to be spoiled, ungrateful little shits. And I mean, it was a really, really good story. Do you want to talk about the one big ending to it?
No, not yet. We'll get to that. One of the things that I was very intrigued by was the fact that he touched on a lot of red pill ideology in red pill, modern red pill, as in manosphere talking points, that I thought was very interesting, without ever mentioning the manosphere, without ever mentioning red pill or blue pill. The only thing that he did was very very carefully and craftily reveal more of what the manosphere has been saying for the last 5 to 10 years. He talks about he spoke about how smart his wife is because she's now as wealthy as he is, but she ain't funny.
Yeah.
She never wrote a joke.
Yeah.
He said every single dollar he's ever spent as an adult was spent on pussy. That's how powerful women are. Because, today's modern woman always wants to paint herself as both massive victims and also superior, powerful beings at the same time, right? And he didn't phrase it in a way that browbeat them. He said, no, you're powerful. This is how powerful you are. These are the things that you get to control as a group and on an individual level when it comes to dealing with your men power. You say men have all the power, but I'm going to show you. I'm not going to tell you that you have more power than men. I'm going to show you all of these different areas where you have more power, where you can't even refute it. You can't.
Yeah, I mean that was a really good. I kind of cracked up part with the whole like dating the 25-year-old compared to dating someone around his own age.
Mm-hmm.
You buy a 25-year-old nice pair of shoes and she's happy.
Mm-hmm.
Buy someone around my age, they want you to fix the goddamn roof.
Yeah, and they want you to go with them to the mechanic, knowing that they're not going. And I love that he mentioned this. They didn't. The woman didn't want him to go to the mechanic so that he could be, like he said, a sexual scarecrow.
Right.
She knew she only had $34.76 in her checking account, and she fully intended to not pay for those repairs on her own.
Yeah.
Right? And so, you can get men to do all of these things. You have these long lists of demands with really nothing to offer. Right? And because that's basically, he's like, yo, you older women never want me to get my dick hard. You never want my dick hard. But at least when this chick begs me for a pair of shoes, she'll model them nude.
Right.
And so I thought that he was, I thought he used kind of kid gloves in saying these cold red pill truths.
Right.
But I think that he did it in a way where if you try to criticize him for it, you've already failed.
Right.
In the attempt.
100%.
So I really appreciated how he very deftly covered that. And the thing is, the first thing he said is, listen, you mad because I'm able to date somebody that young? Don't hate me, hate the game. Because, I'm pretty sure that was a little bit of a nod to some of the criticisms that he got dating younger women. And also, standing up for Leonardo DiCaprio. As long as she's of age, you shouldn't have a problem with it because you were once that age and you took full advantage of it. But now when the DMs have dried up and you go into your Narcigram account and there's fewer blue check marks. And then 5 or 10 years later, there's just fewer people altogether checking for you.
Right.
So I think that he covered that topic pretty flawlessly.
Yeah.
As far as trying to avoid a negative reaction. But one of the things I really appreciated was the fact that he set up, because I know you want to get to the end. I know you want to get to the end.
Oh, God.
The way he set up the end was, this guy is a wizard.
Oh, yeah,
he makes fun of Snoop Dogg for selling everything all the way up through reverse mortgages. For those that don't know, a reverse mortgage is a financial product that allows somebody who does not have a next of kin to mortgage their house so that they can live off the house since they don't have anybody can pass the house off to. And when they die, the lender now owns the home.
Right.
So when you're talking about a gangster thug that smokes all the weed, and we've now gotten to the point where he is selling reverse mortgages. Goodness gracious, good God Almighty. right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he says, wait. I'm not going at you. I'm not trying to offend you. I don't need another rapper mad at me.
Yeah.
And everybody
then,
knew what that meant, but then he moves on. So I'm thinking, okay, he's only going to be subtle with this.
and then the second one with the Jay-Z Beyonce, where he's like,
Another red pill truth.
If Beyonce worked at Burger King, she could still get Jay-Z. Whereas if Jay-Z worked at Burger King, and that ain't a shot at Jay-Z, I don't need another rapper mad
at me. And then I was just like, uh-oh. At that point, I was just like,
it's coming.
Okay. He's setting this up. Because I thought that was just going to be like the one thing he was just going to take the high road. I really did expect that. And that makes me an idiot.
It was just it was just the way he perfectly set it up. And then he gets to you want to set up the Will Smith part? Because that shit was like
I don't know, man.
That shit was hilarious.
I think that what he did was he set it up in a way where if Will Smith wanted to go back at him, he's stuck. It reminds me of 8 Mile. Remember when B Rabbit was going at Clarence?
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah.
I don't Papa Doc.
Papa Doc, yeah.
Right? He was going at Papa Doc, and this is after like they smashed his girl. Rest in peace, Brittany Murphy. They ran through his girl,
beat him up.
They put a gun to his face, right? And it took several huge black guys against this one skinny little white guy, right?
Right.
And then like when Papa Doc came up, he was just like, listen, I'm going to use all of your material against you. I'm going to say everything that you're going to say. And then I'm going to remind the world, the only thing I have to say is what your government name is. Because ain't nobody scared of anybody named Clarence. Okay?
Clarence,
right?
Parents had a real
and
nice
I think
marriage.
that Chris Rock set it up very, very well. He said, okay,
let's address the elephant in the room.
This guy played Muhammad Ali. I played Pookie. Yo, I love that. I fucking love that. Like, did you see New Jack City?
Yeah. I mean, dude, like, the funniest part too is, right, it's like he played Muhammad Ali, I play Pookie. Like, he has movies with his shirt off. I wear a sweater if I'm getting heart surgery in a fucking movie. Like, it was just like absolutely hilarious. And like I
actually pictured that somebody trying to do surgery on him with a fucking sweater on. And what he's basically saying is like, listen, like, you picked the low hanging fruit, and he said, listen, Drink Champs, The View,
Breakfast
all of
Club.
these different places called you a bitch because she was smashing your son's friend.
Yep.
Everybody called you a bitch.
Yep.
Everybody. But you want to slap me? I played Pookie in New Jack City. You played Muhammad Ali. You are twice my size. I couldn't beat you.
And
how tough does that make you look? I was like, ooh.
Like, he went after him with that, and it was really funny because he was just destroying the guy, eviscerating his whole life. Like, he's like, what people have a TV show and air out their shit like that? Like, who gets cheated on?
I didn't put that out there. You did.
Like, who gets cheated on and gets interviewed by the fucking girl that cheats on you? Like, so, how did you feel when I was sucking that other dude's dick? And I was like cracking up, bro. I was like, yo, this is so great because it's so true. Like, and that like the funniest part about me to all of this with the whole Will Smith thing, like when he went up there and slapped Chris Rock at first, like I was like, wait a minute, that's got to be scripted, but obviously it turned out not to be. And I was like, bro, it's just kind of corny. So you're gonna check the small comedian who like you're 2 times the size of and like try to act big and bold. I mean, it's you know how it is, man. Usually the loudest bark dogs are like the fucking cowards.
Yep.
And you know, I just kind of laughed at that whole situation altogether. And you know, let's just call it what it is. Like Jada's, like you mentioned, Jada is the one who said that he should step down.
Yep.
From hosting because her husband's movie Concussion didn't get nominated, and it's like Chris Cross like, I'm a grown man, I can decide what I want to do in my life, and he made a joke about Jada and Will Smith not being there, and then it just got personal, and it was just like he said nobody was hurt, and yeah, I mean just absolutely just kind of a feminine move by Will Smith. Yeah, I loved how he fucking dealt with that. The ending was hilarious. Like if you have not seen the special, definitely watch the whole thing because there's certain things that aren't being covered by a lot of different shows. But like all of the specials really good. Like all the jokes hit, but the ending, man, that ending was like legendary. That was a legendary ending.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that he handled it really well, and I think that I did not expect him to go as hard on Jada, and I think he did. I think he went as hard as he did for it's a genius reason. A genius. It was just genius. What did Will Smith yell at him after he did that feminine ass slap?
Keep my wife's name out your mouth.
How many times did he say the word Jada? How many times did he say that word?
0
times. So he's like, listen, you told me to do this. Oh, I'll do you one better. I got you. We talk about malicious compliance?
Yeah.
Hello. Oh, you said keep my wife's name? Okay. That bitch.
And then,
thank you, YouTube, for taking the censorship off. That bitch, he called her bitch double-digit times. Every time he said it, I felt it. I was like, oh.
Dude, the crowd was like gasping the first time. Like, ooh.
Ooh.
Like, and like
it's kind of like when you watch Ric Flair do the chops.
Yeah.
And the whole crowd goes, woo! Dude.
It hit hard. Like and like Chris Rock said, Jada hurt Will Smith way more than he could ever
slap her. Yeah.
And that was like, and that was such a bar. I was like, wow, like that's so true. And it's actually funny too. I kind of want your opinion on this. So it came out, Will Smith, some sources have said, and he's never said anything publicly, but he's very upset about the special and that he's tried to reconcile with Chris Rock. Because, you know, I again, if you have not watched the special, definitely go watch it. But I want your opinion on this. Will Smith feels remorseful and sad that he can't reconcile with Chris Rock. Why does Will Smith feel like it's up to Chris Rock to accept his apology? Because is he that tone deaf to the fact that on a national stage, and the way Chris Rock put it perfectly, in front of a national stage, in front of white people, because, you know, you're a black man, you could probably correlate this far better than I can. He said Chris Rock was raised, I would never fight in front of white people.
That is the dude. You're bringing up too much important stuff. Can we stick to one topic? Ask the first question. We'll get to that other one.
I mean, I'm sorry, it was just such a good special. I like to go and but I think when it kind of comes down to it, like, why does Will Smith feel like Chris Rock has to even entertain his apology? He embarrassed him at a public stage. Now, mind you, a lot of the public outlook look at Chris Rock very favorably for how he handled that. That shit's still embarrassing, though, right? Like, that's immortalized forever. Like, his grandkids and his grandkids could watch that shit.
He was emasculated by someone who was emasculated.
Correct.
That's double dog
Yeah.
embarrassment. Well,
So
I'll
I
tell you
mean,
like this, Cap. I'm gonna defend Will Smith on this one. I don't think that he believes that he's entitled to reconciliation. I just think that he's frustrated. I think that you can understand that somebody has the right to not accept your apology and not fuck with you, but really wish that you had that opportunity. There are times where I fucked people over in various ways over the years, and I wish that I could make it right and be given the opportunity. But I also know that I don't, it's not up to me to decide how the person who's been wronged reacts to being wronged. And that's something that Black people have been saying for a long time. Like, you know, we talked about the Colin Kaepernick situation. The class of people that cheer when an unarmed Black person is killed extrajudiciously by excessive force, they want to then tell you how and when to protest. Like, imagine if your wife cheated on you and then tried to tell you how you can express how upset you are about it. You would look at her like she's fucking crazy before you do some shit that Eminem talked about in his first album. Anyway, right?
Jesus Christ, yeah.
So I don't think that Will believes that he has any entitlement here. Post entanglement. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. But I think that he's just expressing himself that, you know, I really wished it didn't get to this. But you got to understand something, Will. This is on you. And this goes before the slap. This goes before August Alsina. You did not play your role as the man in the life of Jada Pinkett. You did not play that role properly. And you invited her disrespect. And then you had babies with her who picked up on it. And then they followed in the mother's footsteps and continued to disrespect you. You did that, Will. And you could say, well, I grew up with, you know, single parent or whatever, and blame your father and your mother. I guess you'd be within your rights to make that claim. I wouldn't argue it. But you have to understand that you set all this up, Will. She is not getting bent over by some dude who is now getting bent over by another dude. That would not have happened if you played your goddamn role as a man. And if it could happen to a guy who's worth $375 million, if you don't play your role in your house, it can happen to you.
Yeah. That's a very fair point. That's a very fair point. And, you know, I'll have to say this. Kind of, you know, going into the second part where Chris Rock said he didn't want to, like, why he didn't fight back is he didn't believe, like, he was raised not to fight in front of white people.
You didn't pick up on that?
What?
I said she got bent over by a dude that's now getting bent over by another dude. You didn't catch that?
I did catch that. What?
Yeah, August Alsina is he switched teams.
Wait, what? No. I didn't know that.
Yep.
Wait a minute. That wait a minute. Wait, really?
Yep. That was like several months ago, like 4 or 5 months ago.
I see. I don't keep up with this shit. I'll be completely blunt with that.
I wasn't looking for it either. That is not the type of stuff that I'm looking for when I go on the internet, man. But
wait a minute. And like whatever, each their own. But wow, okay. I mean, really? Like that's wild. I mean, maybe it was so bad with Jada. I'm sorry. Dodging minefields here. The Low T Show. Make sure to subscribe to the Patreon.
Yeah, to the Patreon, yeah.
But when it kind of comes down to it, is Chris Rock. I hate you, Chris Rock. Chris Rock said that he was raised not to fight in front of white people. I want
that is the biggest thing, man. That was the most important line of the night. I don't think that people picked up on that. I said from the very beginning when we covered it last year that Chris Rock saved the public image of black men. Did he save the public image of black men in the eyes of other black men? No. They thought that he was a whole biatch for not striking Will Smith back. But the thing is, when you are a marginalized group of people, a real marginalized group, not fake marginalized, everything that anyone does wrong that shares your likeness is going to reflect on you. And Will did that in front of what? A collective trillionaire worth of people sitting there, almost all of them Caucasian. And it was very it's on Nas's newest album, King's Disease 3. There's a bar where he says he says one-on-one with your op, all they see is two dumb blacks. Right? Now, when you are in your tunnel vision and you're thinking, I'm gonna fuck this nigga up, right? You're thinking that doing harm to this one person for whatever reason is the most important thing, right? But while you've got your horse blinders on, you can't see the forest for the trees.
Right.
Because everybody around you with their fucking camera phones to put this on the internet, when it goes up on Twitter and what was that other website? World Star Hip Hop?
TikTok or whatever. Like,
right?
Yeah.
Everybody's going to see it.
Yeah.
All they see is two dumb blacks. See, what you thought you needed to get into some sort of altercation for, it was so important. Everybody else around you said, look at these dumbass niggas. Yeah. And Chris Rock was like, nope, not falling into that trap. Because guess what? I wasn't raised by a single mom.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be hyper emotional because this guy raised by a single mom was highly emotional. He said, I have two parents and they taught me better than that. Yes, my mother, who had to go to the dentist. Oh, my fault. Had to go to the vet for dentistry services. Yeah. Her with my father taught me better than that. Do you see the difference between the single parent raised, two parents? My parents taught me better. You don't fight in front of white people. You don't do it. Because even though white people fight too, shout out to my hockey players, they are not judged the same way we're judged when we get into a fight. When white people get into a fight, it's, good old fashioned conflict resolution. The old fashioned way. Yeah. When black men fight, don't trust them new niggas over there. No, you can smell their nigga essence in the air. You know what I'm saying? Like,
bro, I'm not trying to get demonetized. We just got it.
But that's how. But again, selective outrage.
Yeah, I mean,
right? And I really want to get at the selective outrage because I watched a video. Shout out to O'Shea Duke Jackson. You got these black women talking about, how Chris Rock just, black women. He uplifted 3 black women. He even gave props to his wife who took him to the cleaners.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
He went at somebody that went at him. Oh, look, he's attacking black women. No, he attacked that one woman who attacked him. And sent her feminine ass husband to go assault him.
Yeah.
Because again, what did I say when we covered it originally last year on this very podcast? Will laughed first.
Absolutely. And then he looked over to Jada. She won't laugh. She was not laughing. And she was like, you know what? I gotta show Jada I'm a man. I gotta show her I'm a man. And
maybe she'll stop.
Went up there.
Maybe she'll stop
having entanglements with my son's friends. Like
maybe she'll stop getting smashed by dudes that get smashed.
Oh my god.
Shout out to Bearded Fern. How you doing?
And listen, each their own. Y'all do what you want to do in your own life. That's
right.
That is what it is. But yeah, I mean, I think when it kind of comes down to it, it was a fantastic special. He tied it all together because I was like, is he just gonna like subtle jabs throughout the whole special? And then when he ended it with that, I was like, man, that's a great way. And then he just like dropped the mic and
and he did. Oh man.
That was a fantastic.
Yeah, he did it the exact right way, and I really get annoyed at the reaction because of course people want to act as if he said like all these horrible things,
right?
He spoke the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Sonny. How you doing, Sonny? He spoke the truth. He made sure to make sure that people are like, hey, I'm not trying to offend you, but he made it very, very clear. I don't want to offend 50 Cent. I don't want to offend Snoop Dogg. I don't want to offend, people who rioted on January 6th 2 years ago. I don't want to offend trans people or gay people or women who want to, kill their unborn children. I don't want any of you to be offended. I want these two to be offended. And they tried to make it about all black women, right?
Yeah.
After he just told this story of what his mother went through. Well, and how he's raising his daughters. And how he is really, if we're being honest, raising two strong, independent black women that don't need no man. If we're going to be honest about it, he made two more of those. Okay. But he went at her and he made sure to say, I'm going at Jada Pinkett Smith without saying her name because what it will say, keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
Yep. Yeah, like every time, just every big long pronunciation.
So he just said, all right, I'm not going to say her name. Bitch!
That was so petty. I loved it. It was really a fantastic special.
Because he'll never host the Grammys again, right?
No.
Right? No. So they cost him money.
Yeah.
With their shenanigans. Right? Now, what he did was so good because he's like, listen, I ain't no victim. You're not going to see me up there talking to Oprah or Gayle King. He slapped me. No, you ain't going to catch me. No. When Netflix gives me 8 figures to roast these bitches, then I'll talk about it. Because you know what? I've got a daughter that goes to culinary art school in Paris. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Shit. Absolutely.
So I just I'm
dealing.
Shout out to Chris Rock. I have a lot of respect for him, and I'm hoping that this will start the floodgates of our favorite comedians and future favorite comedians coming out and saying the things that they need to say. And you know what? If people want to cancel you, guess what? You can't be canceled if your fans stand behind you. And I don't think that Chris Rock lost a single fan. He might have gained some fans, in the process.
Well, speaking of selective outrage, I'm kind of dealing with it now because that video is actually picking up traction.
Yeah, we're gonna cover this because we talked about this in the past. Okay, we're gonna switch gears here. We covered this in the past. Just in the last couple of months, we had Provorov, the defenseman for the
Flyers.
Philadelphia Flyers. He decided to opt out of what's the word I want to use? I want to use a very specific, promoting a lifestyle
Correct.
that he would not live himself.
Mm.
And then the New York Rangers, they did their Pride Night, but they did it without the warm-up jerseys because I get the sense that they had enough players say the opt-out that it didn't make sense for them to have 4 players out of 15 on the ice. Because then it would be like, well, Provorov was one of the Flyers. Well, guess what? The rest of us, well, we got 10 Rangers that ain't living that way. So,
well, yeah, I mean, it's kind of like it's been just a hot button issue, right? So, like, for y'all that don't know, I have a sports channel. I had one of my videos actually blow up recently. It's almost got 30,000 as we speak.
We'll talk about that too.
ESPN hates NHL. Video right now, it's got over almost actually 700 views in the span of 3 hours. The like ratio is about 76.5%, so I think I definitely I'm usually around 95 plus because it's a hockey channel. But
you know what it is? Well, you know what? This is what we're gonna do, right? We're gonna let them listen to your comments first.
Yep.
And then we're gonna allow, and then we're gonna
Got the ball for locker room here, and I've been sitting here thinking about how to do this video because I want to make sure I don't come off too strong. But you know what? I just don't care at this point. The NHL needs to do away with Pride Nights. The Minnesota Wild, they had a Pride-themed warm-up jersey they did not follow through with for whatever reason. There hasn't really been a public statement yet. And this has been a handful of times this season, whether it be Provorov or the Rangers and now the Wild, that teams have either not done it or have had a particular player boycott it. This whole Pride Night stuff is far too controversial for the NHL to have a night on. And I'm going to be very clear. I do not care what 2 consenting adults do in their own personal life. It's none of my business. But at the same time, the NHL has players from all around the world, various different backgrounds, various different religious beliefs, and a lot of religious beliefs, whether you agree with it or disagree with it, fundamentally disagree with that style of life. So when you try to force people to fly the colors of a flag they do not really agree with, this is what happens. I'm not saying there shouldn't be inclusivity. Everyone should be allowed to play hockey. Everyone is allowed to play hockey. But let's be very clear when I say this. Whether you agree with it or not, the cold hard truth is this. Everyone is entitled to their own worldview and religious beliefs. This Pride Night stuff adds much unneeded negative PR to the NHL, because if you're not going to commit to it and you're going to respect your players' beliefs, which I do respect about the NHL, why have it in the first place? That's been kind of my biggest argument with it. It's not because I hate people. It's not because I'm a bigot. I'm just looking at it from the facts-based standpoint. You have players from all around the world, all different backgrounds, with belief systems that really do disagree with Pride Night. Why keep opening yourself up to this headache? And I'll state this as well. Just because someone has a religious belief system that doesn't agree with that lifestyle doesn't mean they hate those individuals. They just don't agree with that lifestyle. In my personal opinion, as long as people aren't being hateful and trying to incite violence against that group, they are entitled to their own personal opinion. I know we live in a world that everyone wants to shove their own worldview down other people's throats because that is the quote-unquote correct way of thinking. But that's just not life. That's not how things work. And I'm trying to make this very clear. Everyone should be accepted in hockey and allowed to play and enjoy the sport they love. But that doesn't mean you can force your lifestyle down other people's throats. That'd be like me owning an NHL team, having a Christian night, forcing my players to say prayer, wear crosses, and say they love Jesus Christ. That wouldn't exactly go over too well, would it? End of the day, too much of a headache. Axe it all together. Have teams be involved within their community and be advocates within that community if they want to be. But you can't force players to believe in something that they just don't agree with. I'm Captain Paul. I'll see you in the next one. And man, this video is probably gonna get a bit of pushback.
That was my favorite part.
Since
Video.
1-0 shootout win.
Yeah,
in
like I'll
Minnesota.
acknowledge the elephant in the
man.
room, bro.
Yeah,
I will. Yeah.
Now, I know I get the sense, Cap. I get the sense that some of the dislikes came strictly from you saying that everybody should be allowed to play and that you don't have a problem with their life stuff. They want to live it that way and what they do, consenting adults. I think that some people are just like, nah, I don't like them homos. I think that some people are kind of like that.
Well,
yeah.
like it's the thing is, right? So like, and there's comments like here that, there's comments here that
Yeah, we're gonna cover these comments. Yeah.
Oh my god, I have great comments. There's some comments.
Kyle Patterson probably has the best comment already. It says they should do a hockey for all night and give the players the option to wear any warm-up jersey within reason they want, and auction the jerseys off after the game. Some players will support military, another can support cancer or sick kids hospital, gay rights, or whatever they want to support. And after the game, sell the jerseys with proceeds going to whatever organization the jersey was intended for. The issue isn't about the players not supporting gay rights. The issue is about being told they have to support. And in my opinion, it will do way more for gay people if one player genuinely supports gay rights than every player being forced to support something they may not believe in. Plus, it'll give more personality / marketability to the players, something the NHL needs more of.
Yep.
Can I get a slow golf clap for that mofo right there?
Well, I mean, I commented and favorited that. That was a really good comment. I like that. So this is the problem, right? And this is why I don't like doing these type of
I know you just want to just cover the sports.
I just want to cover the
and
sport.
then cover this shit on TSP.
Exactly. But it's one of those things where it happened. It's 3 times now, right? And I covered the pro overall, but I was very kind of like light-handed with it, just reporting. And then I'm like, you know what? Listen, end of the day, I don't got a hateful bone in my body except only for my co-host, right? So like,
I was about to say, you right? Oh, okay, yeah, nice told you. Yeah, okay.
So like, when it kind of comes down to it, I don't care what people. Genuinely, I don't care what people in their own life. Like, I have legitimate friends of mine in homosexual relationships and married together, and I don't like. I'm friends with them. We, occasionally see each other, go out for drinks. Like, I don't care, and that's the funny part is, and this is the thing is, these people that will kind of come up with these dogmatic comments. Like, if you go to Newest, there's a few that are very long, and they're like, well, you might as well get rid of military appreciation night, and might as well get rid of the national anthem. The funniest part is these people.
They didn't start with the national anthem until after 9/11. That was not something that they did at sporting events in the United States, prior to like war propaganda time.
Well, like, this is the problem though with this, right? People act like I give a fuck if they cut those too.
Right.
That's
not the news right now.
But that's the funniest part. I'm like, if you cut the national anthem, like, listen, I take pride in my country. I was going to serve until I got, the diagnosis. But when it kind of came down to it, it's like, I don't legitimately care about the military. The military nights, I think it's cool.
Look at your latest look at your latest shaming. Check that out, Cap. Let me make sure you can read this.
I mean, no, I can read it. Let me finish my point though. Like, one of those people, I'll let you find it. One of those people that like assume that I actually give a shit when it comes to what did you do?
I zoomed in and it put everything. Check a look at this comment right here, man.
These people assume I care about these military appreciation nights when they're just funded by the fucking defense, right? And it's all paid for and bought for. It's not like these teams do this out of the genuine of their heart. Now, I think we should support our veterans, and all that. But do these appreciation nights actually do anything? Not really. And as for this comment, players who boycott rainbow jerseys because of their religion or heritage are using that as an excuse to proliferate homophobic behavior and hate. In my opinion, if you're truly a man, in my opinion, you wouldn't have to you wouldn't have a problem wearing a little rainbow jersey. Now, that is just pure ignorance. That is so lost within your own hubris that you don't look outside of your own worldview.
It's shaming language, Cap. It's meant to make it. What he wants to do is attack your masculinity as a man to shame you into his worldview. He's not bringing anything factual because look at what he says here, man. Proliferate homophobic behavior. What behavior would that be? What behavior would that be? Not putting on a sweater. Not putting on a sweater is a behavior, because when they asked him about it, when they asked him about it in front of his locker, the press, right? He said, "Listen, I'm good with you living any way you want to live.
Right.
I don't rock with it."
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, that's it. But the problem is that you have a lot of shaming language. You have certain people, and there's actually one particular comment I want to address. It was like in recents, there was one particular there's one particular comment I kind of want to talk about. I'm trying to find it here on my phone. I apologize. Did I respond to it? Maybe that's why I can't find it. Okay, this is what he said. This is what one person said like 2 minutes ago. Respectfully, religious beliefs that are incompatible with expressing an LGBT identity have no place in the league. If players want to abstain, that's their prerogative. However, if you can't even understand why Pride Night exists in the first place, which you expressed directly in this video, where do we begin? Pride Night exists because the hockey community has for a long time prior, in various ways, perpetuated some homophobic culture. The point of Pride Night, obviously, is to express inclusivity. Now, just because you are tolerant of these identities does not mean that there shouldn't be a Pride Night. If there was a widespread attitude of acceptance and love, then Pride Night itself wouldn't be so controversial. Considering we're clutching the pearls of players' religious beliefs, that is a red flag that widespread attitude does not exist. Some religious beliefs are simply toxic and need to be acknowledged as such. A holy belief to one does not necessarily need to be a holy belief to everyone else, and especially so when it disapproves of the other's inherent immutable identities. This video does not sit well with my stomach at all. I'm a straight man who's been a hockey player / fan my whole life. Now, I kind of want to address this.
Where's that comment?
Go to like recents. It's Nacho Bo. Just go to recents. It's gonna be in there most likely. You're gonna have to like probably refresh because I'm getting a ton of them.
Yeah.
Right there. The N. You can kind of expand.
Nachobo?
Yep, Nachobo. Just put read more. And you know what? I might actually just put like I might chop up.
Here you go.
I might chop up some of this to kind of like respond to some of these comments. Yeah. When it kind of comes.
Okay. Let me take a look at this. Continue, Cat.
When it kind of comes down to it, the problem is that people don't understand. Personally, I don't care. Legitimately do not care. But there's people that grow up in religious backgrounds and religious families that they don't look favorably on that lifestyle. They don't necessarily agree with it. So you're asking them to throw out their own core belief system because what you think is the right version, quote unquote. Now, I would have a different argument. I would have a different stance if these players in these were being vocal and being dismissive and were insulting these minority groups. Then I would be completely with you. You can't have that type of behavior in the league. But to essentially say someone's religious beliefs are toxic because they don't align with your particular worldview is so ignorant. I can't really put it into words because you're not taking into account that people in life are going to have different views than you. Now, should you be treated with respect? Absolutely. But, I mean, has anyone read the Torah? Has anyone read the Bible? Has anyone read anything from the Islamic faith? And, I mean, I would be very clear here. This would be a completely different This would be a completely different conversation if you had players outright being bigoted and mean to people in these minority groups. They just don't want to wear or kind of represent a flag for a community that goes core against their belief system. It's just, I don't know. I mean, am I out of pocket for that? Because I just don't. I like when I made that video. When you listen to that video, I think that was a pretty balanced and even take. And I'm not trying to be like. I don't know. It's just it's weird because it's like I really even I did that video like
I'm sorry.
7
I'm
times.
savaging people live right here. Because when I go at people on comment sections, this is how I do it.
Bro, but like, am I crazy though? Like, I did that video 7 times to make sure I did it in a way where it was kind of firm with what I think should happen, but also being equally being respectful to that community. And it's like even that, and that's why I don't do these videos usually on that channel. Is like, it's like a fucking landmine, like boom. I don't know. We probably lost some a little bit of traction here because we're kind of going on this tangent, but let's see.
Yep.
Okay. Seditionalists. It's a bit of a catch-22. If you don't want to stand up in support of gay rights because of your religious beliefs, it kind of sounds like people need to stand up in support of gay rights. Yeah, but see, I have no problem.
But Provorov, when he spoke on it, he said, "I support everybody's right to live how they want to live." He said that in plain English. It's like the Colin Kaepernick thing all over again. Like nobody's fucking listening, and it's pissing me off.
Yep.
He was very, very clear when Provorov did not put on the jersey. He says, "I respect everybody's right to live how they want to live. It just does not jive with my beliefs." End the discussion. Do you really think somebody thinks that you're right? Do you really think that hockey players not wearing a rainbow jersey is going to discourage someone from being gay? Yeah. Do you think that it's going to cause people to find gay people and beat them up? Well, Provorov didn't wear that rainbow jersey. I think I'm going to go fuck some homos up. Who? No, that's not how it works.
I mean, listen, because there's one guy, because I'm reading these comments, and it's like, it's interesting because like I feel like people put what they think I'm trying to say instead of just listening to what I'm actually trying to say. That's the weird thing. And Sports Gamer, if a gay guy comes into a locker room on a team and their teammates feel threatened, that's why the league does pride still. I know hockey people who lost friends because they're gay. Okay, but the thing is, I've known people in life that have lost friends outside of sports because they've opened up. There's always going to be ignorance. And like this is just my take, and this is just how I was raised. I'd rather y'all motherfuckers let me know you don't like me. Right? Like, I don't know your opinion on that. I would rather you know, like, yeah, you don't care for me. You don't like you, like, whatever. And I can move on and find people that are for me. I'm not saying to tolerate any type of bigotry, but crazy. I mean, shit, my man Evil's kind of going in on these comments. I'm like, God damn, I respect it. But I mean, listen, like, yo, this is such a divisive video. Oh my God.
Yeah, you know, worse. Doug Jacobson, he says something very intelligent here. He said, "This is actually amazing. Normal people are coming on to what these pride nights are trying to pull. I'll save everyone from the deep dive and say that he nails it at 240 in the video. It has become a pseudo-cult religion that is trying not only to recruit others into it, but cause division wherever they go. Do this next time some of this crap comes up in Twitter or the media. Pretend for a minute that instead of complaining about XYZ, they are instead projecting whatever they say. Things will make a lot more sense." Yeah.
I mean, like, it's interesting because people, and I get it to a point, people are very protective of certain groups, but I mean, let's be very fair. You aren't the only group. And I felt like, maybe not perfect. I thought my Christianity, as someone that is a Christian, was a very good kind of like example to put. Like that'd be
What
like
the
me.
hell is this person talking about?
Oh, what? Okay,
What
so
is he
what he's
talking about?
So Hockey Canada did actually have a really terrible sexual scandal where like a lot of some of them are actually NHLers now, abused a few different women and stuff like that, and then but like the Pride Night, Ikea Lou, he was down in the minors for Calgary. He was playing in the minors. I think there was the Stockton Heat at the time, and his coach, like they were playing rap music, and the coach went in there and said like turn that like the N-word music off in the locker room. So I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say that there isn't been some incidents in the past, but I feel like that's with every freaking sport. There's going to be ignorance. There's going to be people that make mistakes. But who is to say that I want people to go harass, tear up the flag, and tell people about Jesus? That's just so like that's the biggest problem with these type of videos. No matter how well I phrase it, no matter how good of a place.
That's why you still got to say it, Cap. You still got to say it because, like people have been saying for a long time, you can make some people happy all of the time, but you can never make you can make everyone happy some of the time. You can't make everyone happy all the time. So no, you're gonna have to go out there and you're gonna have to take your licks, man. You're gonna have to go out there and you're gonna have to say the things that need to be said.
Listen, I'm fine with it. I'm predominantly I am just a sports NHL channel where cover the games, go over the highlights, see who I feel like is gonna go far to the deep in the cup. Ron and Jeremy said, just because you want something to be more socially acceptable doesn't mean that everyone will see that way. Absolutely. That's all I was saying, dude. Like,
and the thing is, he doesn't have, you know what? And tell me if I'm right, Cap. I don't think that you have a problem with the Pride Nights. What you have a problem with.
I don't care.
What you have a problem with is the no-win situation that NHL puts themselves in.
Thank you.
Because they're just asking for bad press because even one person opting out, and remember, a lot of these people who are whining about these failures of Pride Night don't watch hockey. They don't care about hockey. They don't care about sports.
No. Well, I mean, you actually hit it on the head, and that's what I said in the video. It is a no-win situation for the NHL. Because if you have the Pride Night and you have certain players object to it, or like Provorov, that became a story. Rangers team don't do it. That becomes a story. Then when you have the Pride Night and you have players saying, well, I really didn't want to be a part of it, that becomes a story. You cannot become, like, you can't win. And I saw a comment that said, well, if you knew anything about marketing, you'd understand any press is good press. That's not the case. I don't know who I understand to some people. Some publicity's, all publicity is good
there's
publicity.
no way the NHL wins.
That is not the case. And if you think that way, you're not really looking at it from a nuanced perspective because if anything, right, people are like, we got to change the culture, I'm not saying to get rid of
Maybe the culture's happy being the culture it is. How about that?
But I'm not saying to get rid of these inclusivity, community things that they do, that a lot of hockey communities do. Fine. Absolutely. Keep up with that. Help the youth out. Help people that feel like maybe they don't have an outlet. I'm for that. I think hockey is for everybody. Everybody should play the sport that they love. But at the same time, right, let's be very blunt here. A night like that where it's just going to be nothing but negative publicity because there's so many people from so many different countries. It's just you're not going to win.
But it's not even about where you're from, Cap, because we're given these how am I going to phrase this? We are given ideological terrorists. We're negotiating with ideological terrorists.
True.
And you should not have to say, well, if you're from this country, you should promote this lifestyle.
Right.
The answer is no. I was born right here in Harlem, USA. I support everybody's right to do what they want with their lives. but I do not support you thinking that you have the right to decide for me what kind of lifestyle I'm going to promote publicly to other people.
Yeah. I mean, and that's where it kind of comes. Like, I'm not going to be hand-fed and made to support something I don't believe in.
Wild. You wild.
I mean, it's crazy. Like I said, that's why I said the Christianity thing. And I'm saying that as a Christian. Christians have done a lot of fucked up shit, right? I'll acknowledge some of the shit we've done. With the same token, that'd be like me as a team owner. Like, we're going to have a Jesus night. Everyone's going to wear their crucifix. Everyone's going to say, fucking, our Father who art in heaven. Like, it's stupid. And the funny part is, instead of kind of having, like, listening to what I'm saying and kind of digesting to what I'm saying and maybe kind of looking at it from a perspective of, maybe we could just tackle this issue in a completely different manner. Because I'll be quite frank, the military night, the military appreciation nights.
The gay people would be so mad. Can I tell you people? Can I tell you people how many times I've had conversations with gay people and they try to shame me because of my sexual lifestyle?
Yeah.
Actual gay people try to tell me that my relationship with two women is not real because it's not monogamous. I've actually had gay people try to shame me for my lifestyle.
Yeah. I mean, but when it kind of comes down to it, I just think if we're gonna be real we're all gonna be real. No one's gonna accept each other all the time. And
Nope.
traditionalists, the only thing I have a difficulty agreeing with is a lifestyle. Besides that, people should do whatever they want. If someone wants to be a bigot, they're right. See, but like, I don't know what the way to word it. Like, life, like that is the way they live their life. Like, I view Christianity as a lifestyle. Like, that's not a slight when I say it that way. That's just like, you live a Christian lifestyle.
Oh, when people say, you
live an
know,
Islamic
fitness is a
lifestyle.
lifestyle, right?
Yeah, I
like
mean,
it's all encompassing.
I live a straight whale, yes, because I'm overweight, but a straight male weight.
But I got to push back against you on this one, seditionalist. This is that common shaming language that I cannot stand. The last sentence: if somebody wants to be a bigot, it's their right to be so.
Oh yeah, I didn't see that.
See, you take it. You've applied a position on somebody that is not confirmed. You're projecting a hatred of a lifestyle on somebody when somebody is simply saying, I am opting out.
Yep.
You can do you. Right?
Yep.
But that's not for me.
Right.
A bigot is somebody that goes out against people. And Provorov was very clear. I respect everybody's life. I respect everybody's right to live the way they want to live. That's not hate. A bigot would have said, we need to get all of these people into conversion therapy.
Yeah, no,
that's a bigot.
Now that's bigotry with the whole
right.
Yeah,
if somebody says, you know what, I don't want to date a black guy. If a woman says, I don't want to date a black guy, right? Then it's like, well, some people would like to call her a bigot, but I would say that's unfair. Like, how can you decide who dates who and what parameters they choose to date them?
Well, seditionists, we're not saying you're calling the player a bigot, but your language, if you the end of your sentence.
Yeah.
If
But
somebody
the way
wants
you worded your comment.
So to be a bigot, it is the right decision. Like, to me, it's like, dude, people grow up different, have different course belief systems, and that's okay. And I think the problem with maybe this is just the
right. Like, if you're talking about people with white pointy hats and flag burners, those are people who are actually against the being of other people. Those are bigots.
I mean,
but people are calling Provorov a bigot. They're calling NHL players bigots because they don't want to. They don't want to.
Fair point.
Allow the guy.
Fair point.
To have an opinion on what he chooses to promote.
Yeah.
He's not saying we should promote heterosexuality. He never said that. He said, I don't want to promote homosexuality. That's it. Yeah. You do what you want to do. I'm not even saying that the team shouldn't even have the pride night. I'm just saying I'm not going to participate in that because that does not align with my values. That's it. Yeah. I'm just opting out. Yeah. And now we're getting to this point where you're starting to have these chicks talking about, well, you're fat phobic if you wouldn't date an obese woman. What? You wild.
I mean, there's a
Now, if
bunch
you want
of
to talk about some bigoted shit, let's get into this.
Here. If
Oh,
you haven't
shit.
already, please make sure to subscribe and let's get right into it. Stephen A. Smith. Well, let's just roll the clip.
The championship next.
Rangers. Oh, Lord.
Come on, Patrick Kane
They
is
don't
able.
count. They don't count. Take
They
them
don't
out.
count.
They don't count.
Only
for
thing I know
Stephen A.
about hockey is that the puck is black.
Oh, wow.
No,
Big
no, wait,
shocker.
wait.
ESPN.
I didn't catch that before. Listen to the racism. Listen to the racism, right? Two colored people saying the same thing. Did you notice
Yeah,
that
I
they
did.
jinxed each other with this?
They don't count.
Yep.
Take
They
them
don't
out.
count.
They don't count.
Only
for
thing I know
Stephen A.
about hockey is that the puck is black.
See?
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
my
Big
God.
shocker.
Wow.
ESPN doesn't care about hockey.
I'm sorry. I have to pause that. As a black
No,
man, I
But
am
it's cringe.
appalled.
It's cringe as
I-
shit. The
I'm
funniest
appalled.
the funniest part is the Rangers had 3 black guys on their team last season. They have 2 this. Like, yo, what the fuck, man? It's so dumb. And listen, I'm not saying you have to be a fan of every sport, but with the way ESPN are the one who pay hundreds of millions of dollars for the advertising and the ability to broadcast it. Now, obviously, most of the games have been at ESPN Plus, which I'm not a big fan of, and the coverage overall has been freaking horrific. When you have the largest figure on your network belittling a sport in which is paying money, which you spent money to market, it's just kind of cringe, man. Like, at least try to watch the sport. And it was complete. Yeah, and that's the one thing that people don't want to call a ball, a strike, a strike. That was a pretty racist statement. Like, what the
Yeah,
hell?
like, I mean, and the thing is, if he would have just left it at, I don't fuck with hockey, right?
That
He
would've
would have
been fine.
left us to speculate on why he doesn't like the sport. But then, stupid people have to make sure that you know that they're stupid, right? Because they say it's better to be thought a fool than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. And Stephen A. Smith removed all doubt. Oh, in case you didn't know, I don't like hockey because I'm black.
Yeah. I mean, and it's cringe
Fuck
because like we'll if we do play the whole video later on in the video, I kind of expand about TNT, who has the Inside the NBA show, which is a legendary NBA show. They embraced the hockey culture, and it was kind of cool to see the crossover. And I don't know, ESPN has the talent on the commentators has sucked. The production on it is just not great in my opinion. And thank you, Jeremy Lewis. We appreciate that, bro. And when it kind of comes down to it, the game of hockey is a lot of fun to watch. I mean, it's a lot of fun to watch, and if you really get behind it, there's some pretty special stuff that can happen. But
Agreed. Yep.
that's like a white dude, not like a
Yep.
basketball.
Yep.
But I don't know. I want your opinion because the funniest part is my co-host on the Locker Room, Fajardo. He's literally from Ecuador, right? Like he's not. He moved over to America, the New York City, when he was like 6 years old. So like he's kind of like he's a big soccer fan or football fan, and he's a big hockey fan. He played it in high school. And to me, as someone who's also like a black man like Stephen A. Smith, like you enjoyed the game of hockey. You've kind of gotten into it a little bit more since we've been doing shows together.
Yeah, I got into hockey in 1993.
I mean,
Wow, 30 years. Whoa.
I think one of the things that's curious, I understand, right, that there is a limitation to hockey currently constructed because it's an expensive sport to play. Like
Okay, that's
thousands
what
of
you mean.
dollars.
I thought you was talking about the NHL product. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
No. I'm getting there. It's an expensive product, so there's always going to be some type of barrier until these manufacturers make ways to make these equipment far less expensive.
That is why I love Guru, yo.
Yo,
Oh,
that's great.
Yo, see, this is why Guru belongs here, because we
Yo,
want to
that's-
talk about hot takes. This nigga just called me an Oreo, son. Let's go. Let's go.
Yo, what up? Shout out my homie Carlton, bro.
Bearded Fern. And here's the thing, right? Bearded Fern makes a great point here, right? Mrs. Evil will tell you that I have not really woo! We're going in. But Mrs. Evil, she really didn't know anything about hockey. You know, when the hockey game is on, she's in another room watching something with the other missus, right? But I was like, listen, I think about it, and hockey really and truly is the most exciting sport in North America. Okay? Like, if you just, and again, getting rid of the red line and the
was
two
the greatest thing they ever did. Yep.
helped a lot.
Oh, it did.
Making the game faster and not slower helps a lot.
Absolutely.
Okay? Now, it is literally everything that soccer wishes it was.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, I'm just analyzing the sport by the rules of the game, how fast the game goes, the different intricacies, the things that make hockey different than all of the other sports. Right? In baseball, you have to go to the umpire to make a substitution.
Correct.
Right? You have to make this long, slow walk to the mound to take the pitcher out. Right? In basketball, you have to wait for a stoppage in play to do, you know, your
Your substitutions. Yep.
substitutions. You definitely can't do substitutions in football at the same time. Right? Now, hockey is very difficult to score in. So is soccer. But most of the time, the soccer ball is being kind of bounced back and forth over the midline.
Right.
Right? Very rarely do you actually get scoring chances.
Yeah.
Right? In hockey, it is in some ways more difficult to score when you talk about, you know, what the goalie in hockey does versus what the goalie in soccer does, right?
Right.
But you trade the ease of scoring that soccer does when you get into the offensive zone.
Right.
You trade that in, right? For way more scoring chances. You can live and die on every scoring chance.
Absolutely.
If the game is so fucking fast. Now, I can understand why some people would say, well, the game, you know, it's hard to keep track of the puck because of the size of the puck, the size of the hockey rink. There's a lot going on.
And they've tried to address it with tracers. They put tracers in the puck, but then the players didn't like it because
it changed
the dynamic of the puck and how it became a little bit more bouncier. So they didn't like it, so they kind of did away with it. Actually, for me, I've said this for years because I've been playing hockey since I was 2 years old. I actually think they should have gone to Olympic style ice rinks, a little bit wider, a little bit more open ice, because then you could have more of a faster speed game. They'll never do that just because they usually cohabitate with an NBA team, and that would add too many lost seats. Right. But when it kind of comes down to it, it's a very fun game to watch, and they've definitely improved broadcasting, especially within the last decade. Where
here's the thing, Cap. And here's the thing, because it just hit me. It just hit me. Right? It just hit me. And this is really why racism is such a bad thing. And yes, black people can be racist.
Oh wait.
Okay. Breaking news: black people can be racist too. Okay. Seditionalist, you're a savage.
Well, but I have to say this though.
But-
the funny part
but-
is
But
the
I want you to hear this. I want you to hear this because we're going to analyze what Steven said in a slightly different way. Check this out.
They
Kane
don't
is able.
count. They don't count. Take
They
them
don't
out.
count.
They don't count.
Only
for
thing I know
Stephen A.
about hockey is that the puck is black.
Now, Stephen A. Smith says that the reason why he doesn't like hockey is because what? The only thing he knows. Now, when the white police officer stops you and you're fearing for your life because of their ignorance, because they're not used to dealing with a black man in a nice vehicle, right? That's a problem, right, Stephen? But you just admitted, well, I only know this about hockey. Well, how about as somebody who gets paid 7 figures a year to talk about sport, how about learning the sport? How about that?
I mean, shit. I listen, ESPN. I'm available. If you need to pay me a few million to, do a little bit of analysis and shit, I'm here. I'm here. And listen, my co-host is black. This is perfect. This is perfect. Inclusivity. All everything. But no, it's a good team. Bruins are the best team in the NHL right now. Rangers are actually phenomenal.
By far. It's not
Rangers
even close.
The New York Rangers are actually really good. Carolina Hurricanes. Out west, you have the LA Kings, Colorado Avalanche, Seattle Kraken are a new team. They've done well. It should be down below
West
the
is
description.
definitely weaker than the East, though.
The
because
West is
even
a lot
the great
weaker.
players of the West got traded at the deadline to the teams in the East.
To the East. I'll say this. Definitely check out my other sport, like my sports channel, The Locker Room, if you haven't.
Do we have a banner for you on that one?
Fuck if I know. But when it kind of comes
wait, you got it in your name. YouTube.com/ at the locker room YT. I think that would just check him out right here, right there in the lower left hand corner.
Mm-hmm.
YouTube.com/ at the locker room YT.
And there should be links down below in our description and also on the channel about me. But sometimes we
do filthy casuals, or we don't do it that often, but occasionally we'll do a filthy casual for hockey games, especially when his team is playing my team. I'm a Rangers fan, he's a Bruins fan, and I go there because the Bruins are like, listen, Captain Paul's hip is really fucked up. Let's go out there.
Let's do it for
play
Paul.
really well so that there's only one thing that Dr. Evil can have over him, and that's number of women. So
and mobility. Yeah, I mean, I think the really good team. Appreciate that, Seditionalist.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a racist statement.
Yeah, but that's the point, Guru. Imagine how Stephen A. would feel if he is dealing with a white police officer and the only thing he knows about them, the black people that drive nice cars, is that they're drug dealers and criminals. And then he gets treated as such. He wouldn't like that very much. And he'd be right not to like it. But then he employs this, I can feel comfortable saying this racist shit on TV. And, there is a major American sport that I know nothing about, but they pay me millions of dollars to talk about sports. I mean, you can't even be a professional.
I know.
Steve, you can't even be a professional.
No.
Remember
the MMA stuff? Remember the MMA stuff? Like, you could definitely tell.
He tried to argue with Joe fucking Rogan. Fuck off.
When it kind of comes down to it.
You know less about MMA than you do about hockey, good sir. And you tried to argue with somebody who's been covering the sport since UFC 1.
Yep. So, I mean, I think when it kind of comes down to it, it's a really, really interesting game. And I think they got to just do better. And I think the coverage, like I said, check out the channel, watch that video. Appreciate it if you, a little bit more support on it. And, I just make my argument very clear though. If you're going to take a product and you're going to buy it, or like you pay to market it properly, because there is a market. The game has actually grown. If you look at the numbers, have grown. Now the viewership is down this season because you're behind an ESPN paywall.
Yeah,
and the NHL the NHL streaming apps, they got rid of a couple of them and they suck. So of course viewership's going to be down because people are cutting the cable. I cut the cable. I mean, to be very blunt here, Because
hot take. Well, police should know that black
just-
people drive nice cars because they have style, but
Oh
are
my
horrible with money. He's looking
Yeah.
at me. I'm attacked.
that's attacked. But when it kind of comes down to it, yeah, I mean, I lost my fucking frame of point there, but yeah, I mean, I think when it
That's savage.
so, but when it kind of comes down to it, we'll just
You're talking about like the coverage of the NHL and how piss poor.
Thank you. The coverage of the NHL is that it's been poor. They pay a lot. Viewership's been down because you're behind a weird paywall, but the actual people within the communities have grown over the last few years. Revenue is up in the sport tremendously. I mean, you gotta market it properly. Well, it will always have this barrier because it's an expensive sport.
Right.
You can still tap into more. I like it will never be the number one sport. Never even number two. Just because of the expense alone.
Yeah.
But, and also regionally, until relatively last decade or so, because there's not been ice rinks around the country, now you're starting to see more of that. Actually, hockey in Texas is actually getting big now. But it will always have that dynamics, but you can still grow the game into the millions. I firmly believe that. So,
yeah, I mean, there are millions of hockey fans in the United States. It's just that we don't pay a whole lot of attention to them because, you know, before the MLS, it was the redheaded stepchild of North American team sports.
Yo, fucking relax, bro. Like, legitimately. Like, just because I have red hair here, you know, this is, guys, this is why I cover up. Because of this racism I'm facing. Ridiculous, bro. I have to wear a hat.
I'm harassed.
Because he shames it. He uses this shaming language, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, seriously, that shaming language, like, that's what he does. Like, yo, he'll call me, like, yeah, man, like a redheaded stepchild. Like, and I get, like, flashbacks to, like, not getting ice cream from the ice cream truck and just being ignored and not being loved, you know? Like, I'm done with it, bro. Like, legitimately, I'm sick and tired of you making me feel less than.
The final
because
episode
I just
of the
exist.
Talk to Shit podcast.
I exist, bro. I exist, bro. Like, legitimately, like, dude, redhead lives matter, and I'm tired of this, bro.
But you have to understand something, Cap. I support your right to have red hair. I just should not be forced to promote it publicly.
You know what? I'm tired. You know what? I'm gonna be a hypocrite. I'm upset. Fuck it, we're doing it live. I got a beard. I'm not a day walker. You know? You relax. I'm not gonna deal with this. Like listen, my hip is hurt, but the damage you've done to my heart is just far greater.
But but wait, so who do you think suffered the most damage? You from the comment I just made, or Jada, or Will from what Jada did to him?
I mean, listen, bro, like, to be fair, that's like a unfair comparison. Because let's be real, like, Jada got her back blown out by a dude that's getting his back
Now
blown
getting his back blown out.
Yo, so this was a good show. This was fun. I'm not gonna lie. Stupid.
Yeah, so you know, for me, you know, I think that I just think that people need to be able to let people say words, and if you don't like it, fuck off, you know? But I really want to give a lot of thanks to Dave Chappelle for stepping out there and taking one for the team for comedians in general, because I really didn't like how soft things were going. And I think that a lot of guys started to kind of shrink back so that they don't offend people. And I think that you're going to start seeing more comics be comics. And shout out to Netflix, because Netflix could have folded.
Yeah.
You know, I think Netflix could have folded. What's the other streaming platform for the music?
Spotify.
Spotify. You know, when there were certain songs being played, or the Joe Rogan, you know, catastrophe. They're like, oh, take my music off your streaming platform. Okay, no problem. But we're going to keep Joe Rogan on here because he's letting people say what they think and then have the conversation. And if you don't want us to stream your music, fine. And then when these people see that their royalty checks got just a bit smaller, all of a sudden you start seeing that music back up on Spotify, and Joe Rogan didn't go anywhere. And I think that we really do need to kind of get back to having people speak and letting the conversations happen. And I believe that if you're a person, let's say you're a hockey fan, the team should sell the rainbow jerseys online. And if you want to show support,
Yeah.
if you want to, show support for people of that lifestyle, of that ilk,
Yeah.
then wear that jersey to the rink. Make the warm-up jerseys available to all the players in the locker room, and then let them warm up in that jersey anytime they want.
I mean, this is what I'll say, and I'll close it out by saying this. They don't wear rainbow-themed jerseys during the game. It's a pre-game warm-up in which players are warming up before the game where, let's be honest, maybe 10% of the crowd actually sees it. It's not televised. All of it is just pandering. And for people that have, because I might actually chop this up and kind of make it as a pseudo response to some of this and put this in a community tab. But for people that are saying, like, in the comments for me, it's like, well, what about the military appreciation? I saw that. I don't give a fuck. Cut it all out because it's all pandering.
Yeah.
None of these leagues actually give a shit. Now,
nope. I think one of the sports leagues was paid by the military.
NFL. The NFL was paid millions by the U.S. government to pay for it. So let's just not act like it's these leagues doing it like altruistically. It's not. And I hope they keep with the community initiatives. I hope they keep helping. Hockey is for everyone. But I don't know. I'm just built of the type, like, I'd rather just have it make sense. It's such a controversial topic. Why have the bad PR? I don't know. My opinion. I put it pretty well in that video, so. But it's the next time we go on live, by the way.
There's a lot of shit going on in the world, so if you don't want to be a bitch, we can go live tomorrow. I don't give a fuck.
All right, let's go live tomorrow. What time you free? You free 11?
Tomorrow I have early morning sessions, and after that, I think I'm free for the rest of the day unless I get a PT request.
Okay.
So
I mean, let's plan. We don't have a definite time right now, but we'll have something in the community tab up. Make sure to tune in for tomorrow. We got more things we want to say on various different topics. A lot of shit's going on around. And yeah, so you want to wrap it up?
Yeah, you guys should wrap it up. Let's get the abortion rate down. Just wrap it up, guys.
You're stupid. You're fucking stupid. Yeah. But